Hello, it's Kristen and welcome back to my channel. Today we're making jerky from the movie Princess Mononoke. First, take your marinade. Then, place your slices of beef in it. Wait a sec. Let's back up here for some meat cutting tips. Okay, grab a slab of meat. For this jerky recipe, you're going to want to cut with the grain. Normally you'd cut against the grain, but that would make for a really crumbly jerky, or so I've read, so I cut it with the grain to make for a nice chewy jerky just like you see in the movie. So take your beef, which in my case is top round or sirloin top round, it doesn't really matter, and cut long strips with the grain that should be about 1/4 inch thick. The meat is easier to cut when it's partially frozen, so if it's defrosted all the way, just pop it in the freezer for a couple hours. Next, cut off any visible fat and ligaments. Once you have your slices, you can now stick them in the marinade. The ingredients for the marinade I made are listed in the description box below. You can definitely use a zip top bag to store the meat, or you can use a teeny tiny container like I did. Either way, just make sure to shake the meat around every couple hours. I marinated my beef for about 24 hours. Day 2. Take the marinated meat and lay it on some paper towel. You don't really have to be careful about this, it's all going in the same place. Then with more paper towel, press it dry as best as you can, and discard the marinade. Next, lay it on an oven-safe wire rack and make sure none of the pieces are overlapping. Then bake it at 175 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 hours or until they're completely dehydrated. You know they're done when they look dry, leathery, and kinda like jerky. Even out of focus, you can see how jerky-like this is. So that's it. Here's the homemade beef jerky that Meepo also wants to eat. So I ripped off a couple pieces and we're gonna give it a taste. It's actually not bad. It's a lot better than I was expecting it to be, actually. I started cooking it yesterday around 11:30 maybe. And then I had Andrew turn the oven off at around 7, so maybe it was like 12. So it was about 7 hours cooking at 175. And then Meepo is underneath my arm right now. I can't show you, but he's here. So when I came home from work, I turned the oven back on. I set it to 195 just because, I don't know, I've never dehydrated anything before, so I wasn't quite sure what like the food safe temperature was to leave meat and yada yada. So I looked it up and it's actually 160 degrees Fahrenheit for meat products, and then like beef, and then 165 degrees Fahrenheit for poultry. And as long as it's cooking for about 3 to 4 hours, it needs to be raised to that temperature and cooked at that temperature and then stabilized at that temperature or higher for at least 3 to 4 hours when you're dehydrating. So I did it at 175 for like 7 hours, so I'm just hoping that all the bacteria is gone and I'm not gonna shiz out later. In terms of flavor, it's not very strong. It's actually kind of spicy. I think I put a little bit too much black pepper. It's not bad though. It just tastes like beef jerky. Like, it tastes like a homemade beef jerky, so it's not overly salty. I looked online for a lot of recipes and everyone kind of just makes their own sort of recipe or whatever. So I took the basic ingredients from a lot of recipes and just kind of combined it in one, and then reduced the amount based on the amount of beef I was making. Yeah, so I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how this turned out. I was thinking that it wasn't gonna turn out well at all. Let me just, okay. What's up, buddy? If you want to try making jerky at home, I do recommend it. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can definitely use the oven like I did. I do recommend that you bring everything to temperature in the refrigerator, like defrost your meat in the refrigerator and keep everything food safe, and make sure you're not dehydrating poisonous food, because that would be really terrible for everyone. So other than that, I'm gonna go enjoy eating this homemade beef jerky that I'm so surprised that it actually worked out. So yeah, I hope that you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.